Good afternoon, good evening. Part of my topic class of Social Work 530, the topic that I picked was living undocumented immigrants. You see, the United States have been formed, was established by immigrants that came from the West, the East, the North, from all around the world to be able to establish this nation. And the topic that I picked was living undocumented, a documentary that was created by Selena Gomez. And in this documentary, she began to display how many families and young adults was being detained and deported back to their native country. You see, I'm gonna go through the steps of immigrations, how immigration impacted this nation severely. You see, in 1790, we have the Naturalization Act to obtain residency requests within the United States. Then we have the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, which prohibit immigrants of Chinese labor in the United States. Then we have the 1924 Immigrant Act that established national origins of quota, which placed quotas on certain nations, certain countries that would not be able to enter the United States. But however, in 1965, we have the National Immigration Law that was able to remove the quotas of the Immigration Act of 1924 that put quotas on certain nations, that banned certain nations from entering the United States. So in the documentary of Living Undocumented, we see that many families and many young adults that came here, that migrated to the United States at a very early age, some of them was being deported back to their nation. And we see these young adults, they was fearful about their life. They were fearful about their family. Some of them was fearful going back to school. Some of them was fearful even calling the cops. Some of them were fearful to even sleep at night. They were so fearful because why, they have seen many of other people and many of their relatives that was being detained and sent back to their country of origin. As Selena Gomez was interviewing them, we see the distress, we see the pain that was upon their life, because many of them feel like, oh, I'm not wanted in this country. This country is the only country that I know. So how can I be rejected? How can I be sent back to a country that I have nothing, I don't even know this country. You see, when we look at the policy of the DACA policy of 2012, which gave children and family which are undocumented, children that came at an early age and now became adults, it gave them the ability to go to school, they gave them the ability for healthcare and employment, so that they may be able to obtain residency, a temporary residency, without being deported. So this policy of DACA was put in place by Obama to help. However, in 2016, when President Trump came into office, he conducted an executive order that made this policy of DACA to not have any effect. Now, the executive order that President Trump did in 2017 called the Race Act. So the Race Act would seek to reduce the level of immigrants of entering into the United States. About 50% were given green card, and the rest of the 50% was denied. And in this same policy of 2017, we saw there was many ban of Muslim countries that was prohibited from migrating to the United States. And we see that in the Race Act of 2017, which sparked the immigration policy in the United States, And because of this, in 2025, when President Trump came back into office, there was a policy called the Lake Raleigh Act policy of 2025, which mandates the detention of immigrants who are charged with convicted crimes. So this policy was put in place for those who have convicted criminals, those who have committed crimes. Those were the people that were supposed to be detained and sent back to their country, but not those who are law-abiding immigrants who come here, who are going to work, who are going to school, trying to seek economic opportunity for better life in their family. Now they were being sent back. They were not criminals. They were law-abiding.